A very good evening and welcome to A Date with the Dinner Set, programme 255 here on June the 8th. I hope this finds you well after a rather mixed week of weather, certainly in this part of the world. Hello, Stan. Very good to see you. Fantastic. Yeah, so it certainly around here it's been a bit weird, hasn't it? The weather. It's been a bit sort of mixed bag, and it was certainly quite wet yesterday. Brother, that's a very good suggestion that it might have been a horse theme. In actual fact, it was a bit more nautical than that. It was the theme tune to Howard's Way. Howard's Way. Yes. Does anyone remember that? 40 years ago this year. It shares the fact that EastEnders is also 40 years old this year, and Howard's Way was extremely popular. It ran for, I think, 78 episodes from 1985, and it also shares, in fact, with EastEnders the fact that its composer, Mr. Simon May, he also composed El Dorado and Food and Drink and the musical Smike and lots of other things. Ah, yes, says Brother, fantastic. Simon May is absolutely a very prolific composer. He's also a thoroughly nice chap. I had the great pleasure to meet him about 20 years ago. And really, really, really nice chap as well. So yeah, that was our opening music. We always have a bit of TV music, don't we? Even if nobody knows it for the first 30 seconds, just to get us into the programme. So yeah, as I say, I hope this finds you well. I don't know if you can see tonight's tie. Tonight's tie is by Fornasetti, and it's one of a very limited number of ties. Now, some people might say, well, that's good. This one has a title. It's called Creatures of the Sea. So there we go. It's not subtle, is it? But anyway, that's what we're wearing this evening. I thought you'd love to know that. I'm going to have a sip of coffee before we launch into our 6 pieces of music this evening. Quite a mixed bag this evening. I always say that, I know, but there should be something for everyone going on here this evening. And there's some quite interesting links between some of the pieces, which I didn't know until I started researching the little factoids about them. So that's quite interesting. All will be revealed as we go along. Thank you, Alison. Thank you very much. What was I doing? Oh, having some coffee. If you're with us live in my chat room and you wish to join in along with a merry chat talking about the music, the composer, the context, what you're eating, the weather, anything else, the cricket, if you must, brother, that's absolutely fine. That's what we're here for, isn't it? To have a little bit of fun. Do enjoy our programme. lot of big spenders in my chat room this evening. Yes, and of course you are quite correct. Alison, you were first. Sorry, I didn't mean to sound surprised when I said that, but you were the first that came popping in with that very famous tune. That tune which came all the way from 1966. 1966, it was one of the big show-stopping numbers from the musical Sweet Charity. And a particularly raunchy one, that the whole tempo, the whole vibe of it is a bit smoochy and raunchy. There are other words, but this is a family program. Whatever, it is a great piece of music. Absolutely fantastic show, composed by Mr. Cy Coleman, and he enjoyed great success with Sweet Charity and later with City of Angels, amongst other things that he composed. A very, 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 very clever composer, one of the sounds of the 1960s. And yeah, of course, it was made very famous, as somebody said. Who said it? 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 It said it was Jill. By Shirley Bassey. Burley Chassis, indeed. Dame Shirley Bassey. Oh, hasn't she got a lovely smile? She's always got that amazing smile to go with that amazing voice that she has. And of course, she had a absolute knockout hit with her version of Big Spender. I think her version was a year later in 1967. I watched a YouTube video the other day of Shirley Bassey performing. I don't know where it was. Very recently, in the last couple of months. I think she's 89, and it was absolutely stunning. There she is in all her gown and a sort of jewels and her hair and her sparkle and her voice, and the voice is still there. Absolutely amazing. Anyway, that was our opening one this evening. Hey Big Spender from 1966 from Sweet Charity by Cy Coleman. As always, if you like what you see and you hear on A Date with Innocent, do press the thumbs up button. Make sure you press the button on the left for thumbs up. We don't want any more rogue thumbs down like we used to get. Thank you very much. We don't like that at all. Anybody who's got a YouTube channel hates getting the thumbs down, even if they're accidental. We take it very personally, especially if we are musicians. It's just the way things are. So I sort of hot-footed it this weekend from the Derby at Epsom. I wasn't actually at the racecourse itself, thank goodness, because it's a right scrum over there. I was in the relatively more civilised surroundings of the RAC, playing the piano for 4 hours for both the days, and well, I enjoyed myself playing. No one could hear a thing, no one listened, but hey, it was nice to people watch, and I gather people had a very good day at the Derby. Let's just leave it like that, shall we? Sip of coffee, then on to our next bit of music. Mark, I hope you've got the cricket turned off, because this next one might be relevant to you. I don't know. Oh, thank goodness for that, Mark. You having mentioned it last week, I thought we'd better have it. And I said last week that we hadn't had it before, but I did check the records. We did have it once before on the show, around about programme 120-something, so a few years back. So there we go. Hello, Auntie Roz. How lovely to see you. Fantastic. It was indeed Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue, composed by this chap, country and western chap, Richard Leigh. And he had a number of hits. I mean, he's still around, by the way. But interestingly, I said there were going to be some good connections. That piece, Richard Leigh intended to be sung by Shirley Bassey. But of course, that was not the case, because the person that ended up singing it was the lovely Crystal Gale. Again, very much still with us. A huge hit she had with that. Now, I didn't know until earlier this weekend that she's famous for her floor-length hair. Did anyone else know that? That her hair reaches the floor? Must be terribly heavy. Yes, brother, country in a jazz style. Yes, it's a sort of... middle of the road country pop, I think it's known as. But there we go. Maggie, I'm just catching up with your message. I'm sort of trying to talk, press buttons, concentrate, and read your message. We're all waiting for an Indian takeaway and get it. Oh! Well, music while you wait. Fantastic. When it does arrive, you will have to share, please, everything that is delivered, because we'd all love to know what you are eating in the Robertson household this evening. Do you know, I can smell it outside here, so if it can be smelt where I am, then it's only 2.5 miles up the road to your house. Fantastic. If you haven't done so already, I know most of you are, if you're chatting away you are, do subscribe to this YouTube channel, Gigi the Piano Man, and do things like liking and commenting and sharing on it. All helps people to find our channel. So your support is very much appreciated on that. If you've just happened upon this merry little channel. I haven't got my glasses on, but Mark, does that say, I like that, country pop? Thank you. It's not to everyone's taste, I know, but there's no need to be rude about it. Yeah. Anyway, so that was our second piece of music, Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue. Do enjoy our next piece. Something to do with the sea or moon? No. Is the only answer to that, but both very interesting words, shall we say, for lots of reasons, all to be revealed. It's quite a familiar tune to some. It's one of those golden oldies, a bit like myself, really. In actual fact, that one is called Laura, and it comes all the way back from 1945, so gosh, it's quite old, isn't it? 80 years old this year. And it was the music that was used in that film, starring those people, what you can see on your screen now. In actual fact, the film was from 1944. But the actual song came from 1945. Its composer was Mr. David Raksin. And such was the success of that theme that it had lyrics added to it by the wonderful Mr. Johnny Mercer. And it became a great hit from there on. It's a really, really beautifully constructed melody and set of harmonies. And Alison, I absolutely agree with you that visuals were no help at all, really, unless we were doing Mr. Blobby or something like that, which clearly we were not on that occasion, but that's what it was. It was the lovely song Laura from 1945. Yes, thank you, Alison. You took several leaves out of my brother's book there, but having a go that matters. No, but those words, sea and moon, are quite interesting. Before I wasn't having a go, Jill, by the way. I just thought I'd be straight, you know? So, before we go on to our next bit of music, what are we saying? I can't think of anything but sea and moon now. Oh yeah, this week's upload that went up on Friday. Did you know this, folks? George Gershwin actually had 4 hands. Well, he did on Friday's upload, because I put up on the other piano a recording of That Certain Feeling. And it's arranged for 2 pianos, so what I did was to record one of the piano parts and then play along the other part with it. And that's lots of fun. We have had it on the channel before, but not for, gosh, many years. And it was a wonderful transcription by the American lecturer and keyboard player artist Woodhouse. So that is there on the channel. There's a link directly beneath. And one of the reasons for having it on the digital for the moment is that the piano is somewhat out of tune, and we are waiting tuning. So expect some novelties this month for the Friday uploads. As I say, the link is underneath there, and there's always a link to the Friday upload underneath where you're watching now. And you could take another leaf out of my brother's book, and around about 6:05 while you're waiting for the adverts to start on this merry program, you can press the link and have a good watch of it then. It's a good time to watch it if you are anxiously awaiting the start of a date with a dinner set when we begin at 18:30. So, Jill, you'll laugh at this. You'll laugh at this one now. So do enjoy. Next piece. There you go, Jill. You were prophetic. Careful how I say that about the moon. It was indeed Fly Me to the Moon. Fly Me to the Moon, composed by Mr. Bart Howard. And he composed it back in 1954. He's got another 49 songs to his credit, but he very famously said in his autobiography that he was able to retire just on this one song, Fly Me to the Moon. Such was its popularity, and it's had over 400 different cover versions since. So he did rather well and had a very comfortable life, hence the smile, did Mr. Bart Howard, on the strength of Fly Me to the Moon. Of course, even though the first person to record it back in 1954 was Kay Ballard, it became very famous in the Frank Sinatra cover of 1964, and very much linked to the Apollo moon missions, especially numbers 10 and 11. In number 10, there was a recording of Frank Sinatra singing Fly Me to the Moon that went off in Apollo 10. I know, it's amazing, isn't it? It's a lovely little fact to have up your sleeve when you go out to dinner parties, as I never do. Speaking of dinner parties, Robertsons, have we any update on the delivery of your Indian takeaway? Just munching away, not sharing it with us. I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, Fly Me to the Moon by Bart Howard, that one was. I talked about the piano needing a tune. After last week's show, I had a couple of very generous donations, and on the strength of those, I'm pleased to report I have been able to book my piano tuner to come and tune the piano a bit later on in the month. He's very busy. I suspected he would be at the moment. But he's also, very kindly, I've asked him to clean inside the piano. Because this lid's been open really for 5 years. Ever since we started broadcasting during lockdown, I've not really shut it, apart from when it snows at Christmas time, and so it's somewhat dusty inside. It needs a jolly good clean. Have you got any crispy seaweed? I wouldn't have thought with an Indian. I don't know, Alison. Maybe in your part of Surrey, maybe that's the thing. It's very nice, isn't it? Whatever it's with. What are we talking about? Nothing really. Right, here's a nice dreamy ballad. You may or may not know. We've had it, I think, 4 or 5 times on the show before. Do enjoy. I think, Robertson household, that everyone is too busy salivating over your takeaway to even. Oh, here we go. Thank you very much. Well, those are yes. Those are great words to describe a lovely piece. Also, here's another link. Same year as Fly Me to the Moon, 1954, and it started off its life as a piece called Valse du Lilas. Valse du Lilas. So it is indeed a waltz. So it's a French song, and perhaps of no surprise that it was composed by the wonderful Monsieur, should I say, Michel Legrand, Monsieur Legrand. And he composed it in combination with this chap, Eddie Barclay, who we think composed sort of a lot of the melody. And of course it had originally French lyrics. But, as so often happens with Michel Legrand fantastic songs, we get lyrics added, anglicised lyrics, and in this case Johnny Mercer, there's that name again, added lyrics to it, and it became Once Upon a Summertime. Once Upon a Summertime. Johnny Mercer, absolutely incredible skill in lyric writing, especially for writing lyrics after the song had already been composed either in another language, or indeed in the case of Laura that we had earlier, there was nothing to go on. Oh, and going back to Laura, which we had earlier, that was also lyrics by Johnny Mercer, as we said. But this is the amazing thing. The lyrics for Laura are so apt for the film, but Johnny Mercer hadn't actually seen the film when he composed lyrics for it. He picked up the mood and the style just from the musical material, so that is quite an incredible skill, I think. So that's what it was. In the English-speaking world, we know it as Once Upon a Summertime by Michel Legrand. It was a great big hit for Tony Bennett, amongst many other people. So there we go. So Jill, let's go back to your other word. So we've already had Mai Tai by the Italian designer Fornasetti, and it's Creatures of the Sea. And I've had a few comments on this tie today. One of them, I don't know if you can see, said, "Is that because you are an exceptionally crabby person?" Which I thought was rather rude. It's probably true. And somebody else said, well, if it's about the sea, shouldn't it be sea? Shouldn't the sea be blue? And in my opinion, being very fond of Egypt, I think Red Sea's quite appropriate, really. Anyway, it's not an accident that I just happened to pick up this tie from the rack this morning today. You're probably aware of this because it is fairly global news. Today, June the 8th, is World Oceans Day. And this has been going since 1992 to draw awareness the state of our oceans, and if we are not very careful, then they are going to be destroyed with pollution and all the acidity that is in them. I can't help feeling in a bit of a pessimistic way that we have rather done the damage. However, that's not to say that we can't do something about it. And in fact, today, World Bicycle Day as well. Gosh. Not in the ocean, probably. So Prince William, Prince of Wales, was speaking at the summit of World Oceans Day, and he was talking in English and in French, actually, saying that the truth is that healthy oceans are essential to all life on Earth. They generate half of the world's oxygen. There's an incredible fact, isn't it? Regulate our climate and provide food for more than 3 billion people. So there we go. It's a very, very important day. And today, June the 8th, World Oceans Day. We're going to launch into our final bit of music before we have a little snippet of info about it and say goodnight in our usual way. There we go, brother. Exactly. Do enjoy our final bit of music this evening. Indeed, poinsettia is not just for Christmas, it's hanging in there in June. I'd love to know what happens to it in December. It'll be like this. Anyway, that was indeed, as Kate got the correct title, Alligator Crawl. I hope that was an alligator. I'm not very good on things like that. I should have asked my son, who's very good on things like that. Alligator Crawl by Fats Waller. and it was composed in 1925, exactly 100 years old. A great piece of stride piano, brother. Sort of ragtime, but stride piano. So there we go. That was our merry little end to this evening's Date with a Dinner Set, programme 255 here on June the 8th. It's been, as always, lovely to play for you. Thank you so much, particularly if you've been with us in our chat room, chatting away in your inimitable fashion. I do hope that you have a very good week that is to come, and I look forward to the great pleasure of playing for you again next Sunday. Thanks so much for listening. Take good care of yourselves. Thank you. Good night.